Hello everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of HorizonNext with Niveus. I'm your today's host, Prathiksha Kamath, Cloud Specialist at Customer Engineering at Niveus Solutions. In today's digital world, we use multiple applications day in, day out to cater to our daily needs. And it's been really exciting to understand how these applications have been built to cater to our requirements so seamlessly. While there are multiple things that go behind building an amazing application, one of the things that definitely comes to our mind is about containerization. And in today's discussion, we are going to have a deep dive into understanding why containerization is important, how it helps us in building modern day applications. And along with that, we are also going to understand about the container automation utility platform that has been built by us at Niveus Solutions to enable application modernization. And to have further discussion on the same, we have with us here Adarsh Prabhu, our Associate Director. Hi Adarsh, welcome to this episode. So, yeah, Adarsh, I think we have been having a lot of discussions these days of how modernized applications have to be hosted and why they have to be migrated, maybe from a legacy background, or how a legacy application has been hosted to a container or modernized platform. While these are all from the technical sides of it, could you maybe give us some insights or shed some light on what is the actual business impact and business use case that is a driving motor for this modernization?
Sure. Hi everyone. So I think when organizations look at modernizing their tech stack, right, I think there are two things that they look for. What are the quick gains that they can get, and what are things that they can do with a larger timeline, which can improve their ROI from each project, right? What containerization does, or when they look at containerization, they look at improving efficiency, right? How an application can run better, how they can pay less for using the resources, right? So I think that's the key ROI that they look at. And then they look at how they can make it cloud agnostic, right? How things can run without having an underlying dependency on a cloud provider, for example, right? So containerization gives you that freedom. Then we look at security, right? How you can secure an environment. So if you have a container as a unit of work, right? So any security issues within a container can be restricted within that, right? It doesn't move across the network. So, and what we can look at is, or when an organization looks at modernization, they look at things like, can I run this? Can I run this across environments and not have dependency on environment? I think the most common thing you hear from a developer when there is an issue is, it was working in development, it was working in my system, right? So containerization takes away that excuse, right? Every environment runs on the same OS, and every OS executes the same type of code. As long as you have the governance and execution done right, I think you have all the boundaries covered.
Great, Adarsh. I think that is really insightful because with this kind of support that comes in with containers on the application deployment or building becomes, very easy to support in different platforms, right? And we also see a mention of multi-cloud being there, being one of the great advantage of having containerized applications. So we just also wanted to understand on the utility that we as Niveus Solutions have tailor made to help customers bring their ease their entire journey of migrating from legacy to modernizing their applications, while they would also get the benefits that we discussed in the previous section.
Yeah. I think one key issue, or one key decision points that leaders have to make when they look at modernizing is how fast they can do it, how efficiently they can do it. And most of the time, it's not going to be one application migration, right? So when we look at when we start a project around lift and shift or containerization, we need predictability. how fast we can do that, right? What this tool, so we built a tool while working on large projects, right? So we did get a very large project where we thought, okay, if we go through the traditional route of somebody analyzing the application and then making the changes, it would take years, right? And that is when we decided, okay, let's list down the steps that we take, list down the best practices that we need to do, and bring in that through scripts in an automated tool, right? Give whatever things that are required for the tool as a prompt or as a parameter, and then define the steps in scripts and implement them so that your time to deploy an application gets minimum, right? And now we are able to do it through this tool. We are able to at least for a basic application, we are able to bring it down to like 5 to 10 minutes, right? As long as you are fast enough to type the parameters, I think you can do it quite fast.
Correct.
I think that's the great thing about automation of something, right?
Got it. I think that has been a great evolution, right? Because as you highlighted, application which is very specifically built for something, and it would take a lot of time for us to analyze it on the whole. And the utility helps us in transforming multiple application at scale at a given point in time. I think that is indeed a great utility to have. Now, one of the things that comes to our mind is when we tell that this utility can be used for containerizing applications, would it be very specific to a single cloud platform that the utility supports, or when we talk about multi-cloud can be leveraged across different CSPs, the same utility?
Yes, that's a good question, Pratiksha. So what we did is we did start with one of the CSPs. We completed one of the projects, large projects, and with that we were in a steady state for that CSP, right? Later on, we decided that we should not restrict to one CSP. What if the customer wants hybrid cloud, right? So they want to move the same application across. So if it's a DR, they want to deploy it in AWS, for example, right? So we found out the different intricacies between the CSPs. We found out, okay, what would be the workflow differences, and created a system that would enable an user to just at the click of a radio button, for example, say, okay, I want to do it in AWS, right? The workflows might change, but the application gets deployed in the same amount of time, right? So that's our idea about making this cloud agnostic, because a code should be written cloud agnostic and it should be deployed cloud agnostic. So we give all the benefits of having an application and the flexibility of having the application run across clouds, different cloud providers, and that is what the tool does now.
Great. I think now we have uncovered the tool to an extent that we know it helps us in automated containerization. It also helps us deploy application multi-cloud. Now with the two, great features uncovered, we also understand that it supports automated deployment, right? It's not just about bringing the application, containerizing and making it deployment ready, but also supports automated deployment and also leveraging technology such as Argo CD, which is very important and a great tool in today's modernized application development phase. So can you maybe give us some more insights on how containerization in combination with Argo CD has been, we have revolutionized the entire deployment?
Yeah. So I think to start with, we looked at how deployments would be done, CI/CD would be done, right? Not just Argo CD. I think what we have done is we have integrated with SonarQube, anything in the CI pipeline to make sure the code quality is very good, right? So once the CI pipeline was determined, finalized, and best practices were implemented on the CI to containerize the app, what we did after that is we tried to standardize or to bring in optimizations to deploy, right? So Argo CD was a good option for us. Argo CD along with Helm, so that as soon as the new container image is published to the registry, a deployment is started. And Argo CD is very powerful. And with Argo rollouts, the features that you get with Argo are immense, right? And the benefits out of these are everybody knows what Argo CD could do, and along with Helm, which are gold standards in containerization or Kubernetes world, Kubernetes deployment world. I think we created a system which can deploy as soon as we make sure the quality of code that is checked in is good, right? So it enables continuous deployments. Nobody is looking at Thursday, Friday deployments or Tuesday, Thursday deployments. Everybody is looking at, okay, if there is a necessity, you should be deploying changes every hour, right? So Argo CD along with Helm helps us do that, right? As long as your tests are passed, your quality of codes are checked, your authentication is validated, as long as quality is there, you should be able to deploy n number of times a day, right? So that's what we wanted to achieve, and that's what we have achieved with Argo CD.
Great. And by when I hear about it having Argo CD plus Helm charts, which are typically it requires a lot of nuances, right? It is not a day zero, day one task. It requires a lot of maturity to be brought into the application, and we're not just looking at introducing those things in an application which has been built to cater modern requirements, but we are trying to do it for a legacy application, right? So trying to bring an application from the legacy world and bringing in that kind of a maturity in the entire deployment cycle, I think is indeed a great utility and would definitely be a dream for a lot of DevOps, right? Because it is happening right in front of you, where everything is, the laundry list of checklists that a DevOps would have, is all checked, be it container, Helm, automated deployment and whatnot. So I think it is indeed a great utility is what we have uncovered at this point. Now that we have understood what are the different things or integrations that have been done as a part of the utility, we also are very enthusiastic to understand, as in what kind of skill set would a person who is operating or using this utility is required to have.
Uh, I would say beginner to intermediate. I have spoken about a lot of terms, Argo CD, Helm, Jenkins, and all. But we have created systems or Terraform scripts that would automate creation of these technologies, right? These Argo CD runs as a deployable container. Okay. Okay. So I've spoken about a lot of technologies here. Argo CD, Helm. Okay, we have spoken. Okay. We have spoken. Okay. We have spoken about a lot of terms here. We have spoken about Argo CD, Helms, Jenkins, Kubernetes. When we hear all these terms, it sounds that you need to have an advanced engineering degree, maybe a double degree or whatnot, right? But what we have done is we have simplified all this, right? We have created scripts that can even set these up, right? They are all configurable, right? And what this helps us do is we can make sure we get things work or get these things started with a beginner or an intermediate level DevOps, right? We don't need a highly skilled engineer to do this. That's the key thing. Why do we automate? We automate so that the things that are repeatable can be done easily, can be done by anyone, need not have any dependency on a certain skill set to be done, right? Just go through the videos or training videos, get used to the kind of setup that is required, and you should be able to run this or get comfortable within a day for containerizing an application.
Sure, I think that is a really great thing. Now we have built a platform which caters to the modern needs, which can work at scale, which has least dependency on a person or a DevOps, right? So with all these aspects being considered, I think it would help us modernize applications at scale for multiple customers. So I think that is indeed a great visibility. So when we are thinking of all these things, the next question that comes to our mind is, what are the different use cases where we as Niveus have used this utility and helped customers modernize their application? So any case studies or any details that we have around that?
So I've already spoke to you about how the idea about this tool came across, right? It was a large media house who had 700 VMs, 100 plus applications. They wanted to migrate to production from the VMs to a containerized platform like GK within say 6 months. If we had to do it just with people, we had to have 20, 30 people working long hours, getting things done, getting the quality right, and making sure that quality is tested as well, right? So with this tool, that is when we thought about this tool, right? And what we could do with this tool is get things automated, get things faster into the market, right? Get applications onto GK, then make sure it runs fine. Any tweaks could be done later, right? And so this is a large validation for the tool, because this is a large set of applications, so we know it works for large migrations, right? So that was first thing that we did. And when we were talking to the team, we came across another revolutionary thing. I mean, we came across a thought, why we should use it only for migrations. Why can't it be used for even new applications? And that is true, because you have an empty repo in Git. You create a CI, you create a Jenkins pipeline, you create an Argo CD pipeline, you create an help charts, check in everything. You should be ready for a new application as well. So the time to start development or deployment for a new application also has come down, right? So we use it for migration, we use it for new application, and in most cases it's the same thing, right? It's a new application is just something which has no code, right? From day one, you have a pipeline running, you have a CI running, you have a CD running, right? So that those two are the key use cases for our application.
Great. So now it's not just about if people are on legacy, bring them to modernized application, but as a kickstart for any new modern application building as well, we at Niveus now have a very standard process and also something which is completely automated, right? Which helps us, sort of concentrate more on application development, and the rest of the deployment strategy is all automated for you. So your focus is more on making your app more, add more features to it and make it more better functionally. So I think that is indeed great. So it's not just a modernization utility, it's something that can be used day in day out. That is great. I think we have got a lot of insights on the utility so far, and it's not just a utility that has been built to cater to scale and modernize, but all the nuances also have been catered, right? All the best practices being put in place, which is indeed great. Now that we have understood like how people look at modernization, how our utility fits in, to make that entire modernization being put in place. And you have seen people, as you highlighted in our customer case studies, that they have been able to transform large scale applications. So what would be your inputs for people who are looking at modernizing their applications, and what would be the first things that they might have to think through, uh, you know for taking their first steps towards modernization?
So when we look at starting something new, right, I give three clear advices. One is come up with a standard operating procedure. Tell everyone involved to do things in a certain way. Don't wait for them to come up with different options to do a certain thing, right? Because what this leads to a lot of confusion. Everybody does. I mean, there's hundreds of solutions to one problem, right? So as long as you define it, everybody will follow it. So I think that's the first step towards starting something new, right? For Kubernetes or for containerization, it's the same thing. Come up with a standard guideline, standard set of commands that everybody needs to follow. Then it is giving the developers the tools and automations that are required to implement it. Right. So this is what our tool does. Right. It gives you a standard set of operations or standard steps that you need to follow, and then it gives you a tool to do that. Because now, whether it's somebody first day in the organization or 400 day, they have the same tool, they'll do it in the same way, right? And the last thing is set up some governance and set up some things to monitor your progress, right? Monitor how things are going. Uh, Whatever happens in technology doesn't stay constant, right? It changes very fast, right? And now things are changing so fast that it's very hard to catch up. You can't say that something that was best practice today is this going to be a standard a year down the line, right? So it's very important for you to keep changing, but making sure that the changes are standard and are well documented again. So you started with documenting the standard operating procedure, then said giving all the tools that are required to implementing those operations, and then finally reviewing your operations now and again and correcting them, right? Or modernizing the process as well. So I think those are the three key things that are required for a successful operations, right? Not just containerization, anywhere else as well, but that is very applicable to what we are talking today. Right? So I think that's something that everybody has to follow every day.
Okay, I think that has been indeed an insightful discussion where I think we went through different life cycle of a application modernization, be it why containerization is important and needed, how we at Niveus envision a modernized application, and the utility that we have built, the container automation platform, and the best practices that have been put across. And I think that is indeed very helpful for all our audience, as well as how an organization should look at modernizing their application and how well documented they should be, to get started their journey. I think that was indeed a great input. I think this has been a great discussion, and thank you. Thank you for giving us details on the platform. And for more details on the container automation platform that we have Niveus Solutions have built, please check our website, and the link for the same has been given in the description of this video. And for more technological insights and details on how we at Niveus Solutions have been envisioning technology, please stay tuned on our channel and press the bell icon below for more such exciting content. Until then, bye-bye.